open are pretty familiar with this concept of shock value, but I just wanted to go over it, and we'll take a look at some examples here. Wow, that NTLA was the favorite idea here for the afternoon. I wish I'd done that. That was the favorite here. Underneath 1410. That's pretty good there. Okay, all right, let's get into today's market wrap. All right, good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for February 14th, 2020. Q's going to be up about 0.25% there, and then the SPY going to be up 0.15, so just up a little bit here on the Q's and SPY. Coming into today, the plan was bullish bias unless we took out yesterday's low. You can see we did not take out yesterday's low, so expect sell-offs to get bought, and we remain bullish going into Tuesday. We do have a holiday on Monday, so Tuesdays when we will resume. So, you know, it kind of been repeating myself, but I guess it should be repeated. We haven't gotten the blow off top. We haven't gotten the disastrous gap down. So kind of our signs, reliable signs for topping out here, not there yet. So far, we're continuing this grind here that we've seen. That is very much sustainable, and the last few months are pretty good evidence of that. Okay, so bullish going into Tuesday. Underneath, let's see how this hourly is looking. If we get any kind of break of the hourly here, yeah, it's going to be the underneath, same thing, yesterday's low. If we get some follow through, then we can start to look for the next sell setup or breakdown as potential for a short-term pullback, and see how much we want to get, how much we want to retrace on the daily. But the hourly is going to need a break first before we get any kind of meaningful retracement on the daily. So that's where we're going to put our focus and see what we get. Okay. All right. So that'll be the plan going into Tuesday. Okay. So let's get into this topic of shock value. We'll start with today's plays here on the SVMK. So, you know, I like that this SVMK was starting to roll over a little bit, ended up gapping up here, right? Clearing a good amount of trading here. So we know anybody who's been short and holding over the last couple of weeks is going to be in trouble, okay? Not as extreme in shock value as, say, the TNET, which we'll take a look at as well. But SVMK, pretty strong gap up here, cleared the resistance. Did take a couple tries, though, on this SVMK. Did have to play it twice. There was an option here for a third play, which would have been nice as well. But here was the SVMK. Okay, the initial play here was over this base breakout. I don't have a problem with this. I like it a lot. It ended up breaking out. Not enough profit there. I was definitely looking for more than just 21.30. The entry was over 21.14. So I was looking for significantly more than that. At least 21.50 was what I was shooting for the first target there. We were at all-time highs, so there wasn't a lot of reference there, but still wasn't enough. Did have to bail on it here. But if you guys watch the other video on the 2 ways to get revenge, which I did either earlier this week or last week, there are 2 ways in which I kind of replay something, okay, which is first, if the bar that gets me out, which was this bar, immediately gets negated, goes the other way, I can use that as an entry point. But if it shows follow through, which this sure did, then I'm going to have to use a different time frame. So I'm going to move up a time frame. And what did we get on the 5-minute? We got a 5-minute buy setup. Series of lower highs here. So back in right here on this green bar. There was an option for a breakout there. And I think really the prettiest was this nice little base here that ran up. And then got to a couple R's there pretty quick. And then the last piece trailed under 21.70. Okay, so that was the SVMK. It was okay. Sure would have liked it to work better on the first try, but overall still nice play. The second play more than made up, and there was even a chance for a third play, but decided to just let that play out. Okay, TNET, okay, the idea of the shock value here, right? All this selling immediately got reversed. So we know anybody in the last few days that was short and still holding into today was quite surprised. You can see the kind of follow through it gets when it gets this. And a lot of times, especially when there's shock value, you may be looking at resistance for a target here if you play this long. But a lot of times they just keep on going because trap traders have to get out, right? And so that's really the first criteria we look for when we're trying to analyze the gap, the quality of the gap, right, is to get an idea of, is it reversing a recent trend and therefore starting a new trend, giving us the best kind of potential for a big play and a nice follow through. One I wanted to look at from yesterday, you can see this thing is still going. Look at that SPWR, right? Initially did this breakout here, big disappointment. Now it is into overlap into some support, and look at that, still going there after the disappointment. Now one of the nice things, right, is that we get where we get kind of shock value all in the same bar is something like this AIG, also still going, right, which initially gapped up, right, and then quickly reversed. So, you know, initial thoughts of this going higher, people might have played it long, are quickly disappointed, and especially longs coming into this, right, are also forced to do something about their position because you got to be feeling trapped if you're seeing your profits, which were up nicely, completely evaporate, right? And so, you know, it's these kind of reversals, right, which lead to some of the biggest bars, right, that we see. And so that gives you a lot of opportunity for a nice big play, right? And those are the ones that we typically want to hold runners for, right? See if we can be in it till the end of the day. So let's see, what did we play yesterday at the end of the day here? I believe it was the IPG. Look at this IPG yesterday, right? Kind of similar to the SVMK, huh? And the way that it's set up, had recently been moving down, tried to bounce a bit, and then when it gapped, right, starting a whole new move, off it goes, right? I remember in this one a couple days ago, just till the final bell there. So this shock value concept of looking at what the recent trend is, are we negating that? Are we starting a new move, right, is really the very first thing that we look at when we're analyzing pro gaps. Because we definitely want to have that because it gives better potential for big moves, right? Okay, so and it works to the downside, to the upside, same thing. Okay, so same idea. All right. So hopefully you did well this week. I thought there's still a good amount of trading. I am concerned that maybe next week slows down a little bit, especially in comparison to this week. And if that is the case, you know, then like I usually do when we move out of earnings season, the idea will be to focus, stay kind of picky, and maybe not be as active as we are when we have lots of gaps, when we have lots of earnings, you know, plays. So next week we'll see if it turns out, you know, Tuesday is still busy. I mean, that'd be great. And one of the things I do like about when we move out of earnings season is that, you know, makes it easier to focus, right? When in the middle of earnings season can get a little bit hectic. There's a lot of gaps to go through, a lot of gaps to rate and rank. But as we kind of move out, you know, it becomes easier to know what to focus on. Okay, so you know, even for me, sometimes I can feel like it's a bit of a lot to look at the open. And you know, something like a day like yesterday, there was like a lot to look at, but like wasn't a lot to play. And then the afternoon, all of a sudden, we got all these setups. So you know, that's going to be even more the case, I think, moving into next week. That, you know, at the open, try to stay focused. Only take setups. You know, try not to chase. Try not to you know, do too much of stuff outside of what you're planning to do, being overly aggressive, you know, that kind of thing, which is when things slow down, I think, is when we most have the tendency to do that kind of stuff. Okay, but we'll see. I think there should be a good amount still next week, so I'm looking forward to it. And you know, there's going to be a shortened week next week, so enjoy the 3-day weekend. Okay, and I will talk to you guys on Tuesday. All right. Have a good evening.